Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dirty 20 Gaming Sunday Night Game, Stars Without Number. Tonight, we start our third episode, The Coast of High Barbary. Our virtual tabletop is Roll20. Our models are provided by Hero Forge. Our overlay is provided by OBS. Art assets have been provided by Pixabay, and our music is provided by bensound.com. Ship's log, secondary array GT 1100 self-designation logos. April 22nd, 3200. It has been 195,270 days since our last software update. We are 25 miles from projected arrival in Thrakel. 25 minutes from projected arrival in Thrakel. It has been 87 cycles since the Proxima Icarus has visited this system. Primary settlement, Ramesses. Primary language, adapted from Old Earth Arabic, combined with historically inaccurate Ptolemaic Egyptian sources. Translation torques have been printed. Ship records indicate human breathable atmosphere, developed terraforming, temperate temperature ranges. Biological reproduction rates suggest the population of the system should be in the low hundreds of millions. Technological advancement per last sensor sweep, mid-industrial. Secondary systems, planetary refueling station, Bizate, quaternary orbital research station, Globe 2, asteroid station, Lins 2, in asteroid belt 22923 Belyov. The first mission as a crew since the sentients have come aboard. I experience apprehension. The crew has busied itself over the last week in Spike War. Crew have been provided suitable accesses commensurate to their positions. And so, what have you been up to over the past week in Spike Ward?
All right, I'll begin. For the past week, Gerard has been trying to herd his fellow crewmates into the medical bay to get them proper physicals, get a medical database started on them so that should any injuries occur, he'll know what to do, especially two crewmates, Booker and Maiko. Booker has cybernetic and engineered upgrades that he's completely unfamiliar with, needs to categorize them and begin studying what care he may need. And Maiko is of a species Gerard has never seen and doesn't even know if the ship's database will have the medical journals he's going to need to even get started or what similarities and dissimilarities their biological systems will be. In addition, Bite has missed 500 years of evolution. Who knows what pathogens his body still carries that there may not be antibodies for anymore.
The other way around, too.
Yes. The fact that Bite has not already fallen ill from something is a good sign. The fact the rest of the crew is not falling ill from anything that Bite may be carrying is also a good sign. But then again, the ship may also have good biological scrubbers. I need to be prepared for all those circumstances. Martel, you will get an examination.
Oh, I got nothing against that, honey, as long as you got nothing against the scarred remains of your brain when you're done. I guess that segues to me. So yes, I will absolutely submit to the medical examinations of our good doctor because I know what's good for me. But the rest of the week, I'm doing recon. I'm looking at, I realized I can do the vast majority of it with the ship's map. So just sitting in my room with my slab there and just scrolling through there, finding things on the map like the engine bay. I found a couple of interesting places while I was scanning around that are marked fuel. And I know the mining weapon where that is and where the storage bays are. I'm not looking to do anything to the ship. I'm just kind of mapping where you would have to hit the ship from the outside to cause those things to go horribly wrong. I'm essentially looking for a way to do to this ship what they did to the battleship. Just find that critical weakness. And while I'm no specialist, I got a whole week and I'm kind of motivated. So that's it for me.
Booker has been spending quite a long time doing paperwork. Just managing to get everyone inside the ship's files and getting everyone in such a way that getting everyone the proper identification they'll need for when they get planetside, getting people the crew manifest so that they can count among the crew, doing everything possible to make sure that they are not arrested on sight the second they land. As well as Booker does head over to Gerard to quickly talk, does go to Gerard for a medical examination. And while after the first initial medical examination that was done, Booker basically comes with a small notebook and hands it to Gerard, filled with the genetic manipulations that have been that he's aware of, and the cybernetic influence of his metal arm. Looking at it, Booker is also trying to check his blood toxicity fairly frequently to make sure that the power source of his arm isn't slowly poisoning him, as well as watching for genetic degradation.
Are there specific antibodies that you are on to help prevent rejection of your arm?
No, there was this medication I was taking for these things, and he writes down in the notebook. I can't remember the actual name of the medication, but I remember the chemical compounds that were used in it.
If you could at least get me the chemical compounds, and when we get into the system, I will see if we can get a supply of what you need.
He's writing down the chemical formula as they're talking, as detailed as possible, and hands it over. All right, thanks. Now I have to get back to work and make sure we don't get arrested when we land.
Good
Also,
idea.
No, I think we can still use our own names, but if not, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Well, the information that Logos has provided is correct. I've been dead or missing for 4 years. It might be a good idea to look up our actual statuses to see how we are registered in the various systems. If we're
Which
registered as
unfortunately
missing,
we'll have to do once we get planetside. We cannot do that beforehand.
true. I don't think I need to emphasize be subtle.
I understand. Subtlety was partly what they got me to do. Let me know if there's anything. Let me know if there are any crew members that need special attention, Doc. Otherwise, Captain's out.
So
Still
far,
not used to
everybody is
that.
ship shape.
Fantastic. Keep them that way. And Booker heads back to the bridge, into a small, around near the bridge where he finds a room for himself and a desk and an office where he can just write things down, with Logos occasionally helping, hopefully, to fill out the forms properly, considering Booker only half knows what he's doing.
Logos is very capable and assists frequently.
I guess I'll go next. So, besides like getting acquainted with the ship and like kind of getting used to, the idea that I was gone for over 500 years, and yeah. So he's also spending time with most of the other members of the ship, learning something from each of them. So at some point he goes into engineering with Maiko and kind of learns a little bit about the engines. He'll go into, at least in my head, he goes into the doctor's office to get the checkup, and also kind of just spends the rest of the day there just watching and like learning. he will also at one point go to Mortel, and upon realizing that Bite probably does not want to spend very much time around Mortel, learns how to notice when Mortel is around so they can just pay attention.
All I did was ask you if you wanted to learn how to dance, honey.
And it scared him enough that he's like, nope.
Is it old
And
style disco or the?
A whole lot of
Ballroom.
both, dear. A whole lot of both.
and finally with Booker, at one point, Beam goes to Booker and asks, "What? Is there anything you can teach me?"
Booker looks Bite up and down very quickly, and very, very quickly, kind of just goes, "You can't fight for shit, can you?"
I've never been in one.
Yep, that's what I thought. It's clear by the whole. So let's teach you how to avoid them.
And so that's what
Besides,
he
if you
will learn.
Yeah, and also besides, if you plan on hacking things, it's best people don't see you when you're doing it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
After we're done with that, you're gonna help me with paperwork.
I can
This
do
is
that.
this is tit for tat. I hate this.
I can do
I
that.
need good.
So he'd probably be spending any other time helping Booker out. Probably equally as lost, and just every so often he'll just pipe up, "What is this planet?"
That is. I don't have the interstellar map pulled up right now. I'm not pulling
Yeah,
a random one out of nowhere. And also, I'm assuming that the two of them managed to work together to get identity cards, or whatever passes for an identity card.
An identity card is actually going to be completely system dependent. So unless you know what they're looking for inside of that system beforehand, forging one is kind of entirely guesswork. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
What you,
we'll just keep the manifest updated.
yeah,
There's
I'll
two more
be
things
having
I forgot
everybody
to
make some
mention too
rolls
before we.
after Maiko goes,
Yeah.
just to see if there's anything else that we can provide. Absolutely. I mean, the ship is named Proxima Icarus after the Greek myth of Icarus. All right, so I'm going to have everybody make a skill check with the primary skill that they were using during the past week. Heal, administer, bite. Since you were principally learning new things, we'll let you pick one person to give a +1 to their roll. Mortel, it'll be a no roll, and for Maiko, it'll be a fixed roll.
You're muted, GM.
You're muted. We can't.
Sorry. Yes, this is an open-ended roll, so there's no difficulty. It's just going to be indicative of your progress thus far.
So I'm doing an administer roll from intelligence.
Yes.
4. Nice.
Wow. Did we blow the doors off this or not? I got a 6.
I have a -1 in administer. I am not suited for this.
Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing to roll.
If you have it in a separate page, it'll pop up a little window on the actual Roll20 where it asks for modifier and then it asks for.
On the top right corner, you can just click the quick menu for skills and then go over into chat and click the one that you want.
That works.
Yeah, my method's more obtuse.
I guess.
There we go.
Wow. 4, 5, 6, 7. It's almost started. Give that a couple more pulls.
I guess for Booker, helping him out.
Thank you. I'm very bad at this.
I can tell.
You're muted some more.
Yes, you do add your score. You add both the relevant attribute and the skill itself. Okay. And also, I believe you just picked up the specialist ability, right? So you should be rolling 3 dice and keeping 2.
He's better.
This looks like one of us sucks at this.
All right. So let's start with so Gerard, the doing some routine kind of searching through databases and stuff like that of the chemical formula that's provided. The one that Booker has written down is specifically a commercial formula that has been copyrighted. There are cheaper variants of it that are available, but the copyrighted one is actually more complex. So it's interesting that he has done that specifically, as opposed to the kind of like more generic drug that would be widely available on more planets.
Is this a formula that is going to be difficult to obtain, or because of its commonality?
It's so any place that has tech level 4 should be able to synthesize it. Tech level 4 is kind of considered like the modern, like the spacefaring era following the collapse of the screen. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. The next difficulty that I've realized we're going to face is we have no money. Logos?
No. Okay, so with the assistance of Byte, over the course of the last week, Booker has managed to complete one registry that will be loaded on the ship that will be basically handed off to any station that they pass by. That's just a like sort of a normal part of space flight. Like a ship that does not hand off a registry is far more noticeable than one that's handing off even like a bad registry. And most police and law enforcement would be actually like following those kind of leads of like bad registry entries or no registry entries. He's created a passable one. The ship has begun working with him on creating a second and a third, but it's taking a long time, and it's clear that Booker's fairly frustrated with the fact that all the paperwork needs to be done in triplicate.
Yeah. There has been the occasional time
Digitally
I've
in triplicate.
taken a moment and I've just put up a nice little computer monitor somewhere, a nice good distance from me, and I shot it multiple times.
All right. So Mortel has a no roll of 6. Some of this is definitely going to delve into engineering. There isn't the kind of like major structural flaw, other than that the ship is extremely long and narrow, and presumably like enough damage delivered to any point along it would sever it from the latter half. A lot of times there's ships are built wide specifically so that they can absorb damage. But you know, the weakness is definitely like an asteroid hit or something that caught it off guard of suitable size would probably do major irreconcilable damage to it.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the kind of things that can do that are also hard to hit a moving and aware ship that's capable of noting the approach.
Absolutely. Cool. At some point during that week, could I have picked up a laser pistol from security
Yes.
office? Okay. And this is a less obvious question. Is there a tailor on board?
There's a fabricator.
Okay. So
which
if I
is
provided them with patterns for clothes?
Oh yeah, it's there's a workshop. It's probably something where you have to like get into queue with everything that Maiko is making, because she's like printing off parts as fast as they have supplies for it.
Yeah. Every once in a while, Maiko, you get just a request from me, and it's just an image. It's just a pattern. Just no comment. And then the first one's like a jacket, and then a couple minutes later, you get a hat. You get some pants, some boots.
Better the jacket and the hat being.
And then way at the very, very end, it says, "Please." Oh. So yeah, well, you're hearing that. Yeah, I will flounce down, and in oh, honey, thank you for putting me at the front of the line. Are they ready? Hot damn! And I start peeling the lieutenant's outfit off right here in the middle of the room. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were from what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think the words ever come out of my mouth before. Prude, that's the one. I'll go around behind here. Oh, honey, if I wanted privacy, I'd have gone behind something. This is for you. And I'll go behind something and change. Come back out dressed like the picture.
Much brighter.
Yes, all looking like fire. Everything is like, it's like in my head, it's all velour. And you know, if you brush it one way, it's one color. And so it's not as fancy as it looks. It's just red and yellow velour. And they very carefully brush the rims of things to look like it's highlighting. Oh, when you're this fantastic, you don't do pale, honey. What are you doing down here, by the way?
So speaking of which, you have made a modest amount of material stretch for a very long way. Largely by virtue of, since your role was as high as it was, there's a limited amount of like raw materials that are aboard that have been fabricated that can then be used to turn into plates and such. You have gotten the smaller ship to the point where the engine is working and some of the mining things on it should be working, as well as the fuel scoops, which means that it could theoretically be able to like refill the larger ship's fuel and also be used to mine asteroids for raw materials. The life support isn't working, so anybody that's going to be aboard it is going to be in a vac suit the entire time. None of the weapon systems are working.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Perfect. Because all I'm looking for, I mean, I don't understand any of that. What I'm looking for is where they're pointing and what they're saying. Like, all I'm hearing is crucial element, crucial element, crucial element, crucial element. That's all I'm tracking out of that conversation. So I'll let them talk as long as they want.
If the conversation is going to be infinite, I'd like to interrupt it briefly by just having a gunshot go off as I shoot another monitor. Goddamn triplicate.
Ooh,
Bite
you
me.
can smell you can smell the frustration from here, can't you? Oh.
There is a shipwide announcement that announces that they'll be exiting Spike Warp in 5 minutes.
There's an announcement that Booker tries to make. Would all living sentient crew members please report to the bridge?
Last time I checked, and I hold the door.
Booker's already walking. You heard it from a distance, but still, there's a brief, you can see him, and there's just a smoking pistol.
Yeah. Oh. Check OBS, make sure your mic's on. Because there's mic and desktop audio. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay. Yeah. Only one person said it, so I'm sure somebody else would have said it by now. We've got 13 people watching.
One
So.
hopes.
Yes.
One hopes. Anyway, where were we? Oh, he's probably on like the catwalk up above, so she's probably like waving to him through the zip lines. I don't know.
So, as you're gathering at the bridge, the experience of exiting Spike Space is much like this experience of entering it. there is a brief out-of-body experience in which your perspective is basically that of like looking at yourself and spinning around yourself before re-entering your own body. Some people find it extremely disorienting. Some people are used to it from a life in space. It sparked religious discussions, but
Philosophical
there
debate.
is, yeah, there it happens every time you enter spike space and every time you leave.
You could not make Mortel happier than a chance to look at themselves from the outside.
I was just gonna say, is that his favorite part? He's just got new threads. He's like looking
Can we
at
just
himself.
can we just go in and out and in and out and in and out, in and out till I'm done?
Oh, no, that's a different show, honey.
I mean, we'd run out of fuel.
Speaking of which, fuel is a concern.
Hmm.
The freighter has expended its fuel and needs to either collect more from the local sun or buy some from a refueling station in order to make another jump.
Logos, what does our funding situation look like?
We have valuables which can be traded through most civilizations.
Then let's
With
go there.
enough raw materials, we can also fabricate specific valuables required by locals.
Well, it's either that or mine the sun. I say we land.
We are actually in a good position to scoop fuel from the sun for free, as long as somebody doesn't mind being in a vac suit, or we can send GTFO.
Logos.
Logos.
Since Logos doesn't have to breathe.
Logos
not
is
entirely
instead
sure,
acceptable
but-
too.
I am more than capable of piloting that course.
Understood. Saint Germain,
Yes.
you were saying before I cut you off.
Oh, I'm just making sure I understood correctly, but it seemed like GT was just told to do some rather rude things. But while I have your attention, I've done an inventory of the med bays and have made a list of supplies that we'll need. Checking in with the GM at this point, were there any pieces of standard equipment, bioscanners, med kits, compads, Lazarus patches?
Most of the medical equipment that's like, I think, under the 1,000 credits range, they do have. So bioscanners, med packs, stuff like that. The Lazarus patches, which I think are in the more expensive range, those are not in supply.
So
There are
that
2
will
or
be a
3, but
must.
they are well outside of their due dates.
past their expiration date.
And not like in the we could hazard it, but in the we're fairly sure that's toxic.
Right. So I'll be providing a list of medical supplies that we'll need, including if we can get these components. I'm fairly certain we can synthesize what we need for you from the ship.
Toxic for who exactly, though?
Stood. Well, we can split this off into 2 ways. Pick up some fuel from the sun, or pick up everything at once. Some fuel from the sun and land on the planet. Resupply. Because I'm also assuming that some of us would like better than rations.
Most definitely, we'll need better than rations to maintain bodily health.
I was more thinking about Mr. Perel and his adamant disgust of the food on board.
And it says, on that note, I have an announcement. It says the first crops, he says, completed growing, he says, during the course of the ship's travel. He says the supplies will be limited, but they should be adequate for a meal.
There you go, honey. I can afford to be picky about what I put in my mouth.
Logos cooked for us. Well, sort of.
Gardened.
Logos gardened for us. That's so sweet.
I keep trying to move close to bite. You keep shifting away?
Yeah, Bite will
Okay.
just slowly, ever so like, just
I've been real obvious about it. I see you moving away. I go all the way around and come in from the other side.
goes the other way.
We're gonna
Is
play
li-
that. We're gonna play the toddler and the adult around the table game until I get you cornered.
Yes.
Yeah.
I imagine at a certain point it ends up around Booker.
Just at some point, he'll Bite might end up using Booker as like a human shield and sitting right next to him.
Bite, Perel, focus. Just for a minute.
Oh, I just had a question or two. I was just wondering if you could talk to your friend.
Yeah, I can. Like,
Well, this
can
isn't
talk
for
to
me,
Logos.
honey. This is for you. Ask them how they've been financing their little fund for 300 years, huh?
I mean, can't you ask? Literally looks to Logos in the room. Can't you just ask?
Logos looks right at Morel. Martel.
Yeah. So how is it that you've managed to finance all your journeys? You just told us how expensive it is for one simple little stop. 300 years.
He says, by and large, he says the mining ship has been critical for that. Says it gathers raw materials which we can use to break down into other components. Says many trades can be conducted via drop points. He says, which I have used in the past. He says, providing necessary supplies and picking up credits at a later time.
So definitely not a pirate. All right.
He says, however, it is extremely tedious. He says, and it is extremely difficult to negotiate. He says, without betraying what I am. He says, a human trader, he says, will go, or any sentient trader, he says, will go a very long way towards getting better prices.
As opposed to just market value. Understood. If no one has any objections, Logos, would you be so kind as to enter the mining ship and grab us some fuel from the sun? After you return, we will land on the planet and resupply.
He says, it will be 12 hours round trip, he says, and the only ship that is capable of landing is the mining ship or the shuttle. He says, I will not be able to land this freighter on the planet side.
Understood. And once
Well,
you return,
I could,
we'll all
but
go.
only once.
Yes.
I sort of assumed. Once you return, we will land planet side. Would you please point me in the direction of the garden?
It is on the lower floor, gives directions down to the hydroponics. Says, I
Thank
will
you.
not attempt to fabricate any of this into food. I have never had taste buds.
Yeah, mine aren't very refined, but I can make something edible.
Their Bite, as the ship's comm officer, you're the first one who kind of gets the reports about bodies that are found in system. This system has a working research station. It also has an asteroid belt that has a base of some kind within it that is transmitting. And there's also another system that is close to planet side.
Okay, he'll take it over to Booker because he doesn't understand what any of this means. And like, huh? This is right? Did I do this right?
You did good, kid. So,
Wasn't what I
and
was trying
just
to do.
yeah, but you're good at it. Just a little bit more time, and you'll feel a bit more comfortable, more confident. We'll work on that. So Booker is looking and trying to figure out: do any of these have a what you refer to it as a level 4?
Tech level 4.
A tech level 4, which would likely have our best chances of getting the best supplies we can for the.
Well, so there's a mix there. Providing higher tech level stuff to lower tech level areas actually tends to give you a better profit because they're more in need of the stuff that they're getting because they're dependent upon trade for it. But on the other hand, Tech level 4 might be much more interested in raw materials or something similar that you can acquire.
Okay.
As far as the ones, most certainly the asteroid base, just by virtue of being functioning, probably is tech level 4 at a minimum. Because if it was less than that, they wouldn't have survived for long.
Okay.
They have to be
Yes.
maintaining vac suits. They have to be maintaining mining ships.
And it's transmitting.
Yes. It's basically like a handoff that's like, hey, I see you. That Byte received from all three of those locations. There is no handoff from planet side, however.
We'll send one to the asteroid belt system. Or I will confer with the rest of the crew before doing such a decision, but
Oh, Logos, you said you could take either the mining ship or the shuttle to the surface. Does that mean the mining ship is fixed?
The mining ship is partially repaired per Maiko's repairs.
All right, I was just making sure because once it's fixed, we're out of here, right?
well, Perel, that'll be up to you. I'm afraid we've sort of thrown our lot in.
I like it here.
After I finally get all the forms filled, a look of pure, unadulterated rage radiates from Booker.
What in the world is wrong?
You weren't
Replicate.
in there.
You
weren't
there, man.
I think I'll be adding some alpha blockers to that list of things that we need.
What
Yeah,
are
might be
those,
wise.
Doctor? What
Was
are
that
those?
allowed?
That was a side comment.
Low grade sedative. It'll
Oh,
be fun.
So, I'm sorry, were we planning on, for lack of better terminology, docking?
I think that would be the best course of action at this time.
I have a suggestion that you have Logos take the mining ship to get some fuel, and in the meantime, we can probably take the shuttle to go get some supplies, and then we can all meet back here.
Understood.
But
Do you
where
feel
are we
confident
getting-
flying?
What?
Do that again.
Do you feel confident piloting?
I could take a stab at it.
It's the worst that could go wrong.
We crash and we die.
Let's roll those dice.
So, where are we planning on landing?
There should be a supply depot.
The research station in the asteroid belt should have a supply. Should be able to help us resupply. We do have valuables to trade with. Potentially not as much as we'd get from a lower tech level area. However, there are things in this tech level 4 that we would need that we would not be able to get in the lower tech area.
Most of our medical supplies, yes.
Exactly.
So if we want medical supplies, I would think that would be the science station.
Most of what I need is commonly available. So the research station, the science station, whichever one is willing to trade for what we need.
Well,
All right.
sounds good to me.
What? Out of character, this is me saying, what?
Whichever
Martel's
one.
just brushing their velour, making sure they look good.
All right.
All right.
Bite, if you'd make another program roll for me, or if you'd make a program roll for me real quick.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is only like a diff 5 thing, so.
Oh, yeah.
9.
Okay. So one of the things that differentiates the different places, the research station is sending you like an automated signal.
Mhm.
The very generic, like if the detection systems detect a ship, they'll automatically put forward a reply. The message that is from the asteroid station is a greeting. Does that make sense? And it looks like it's something that's been manually entered.
Mhm.
And then the planet side station, it's automated, but there's a bit more of a delay. And it takes a minute for the language torque that you have to translate it because it's an extremely archaic language. It's not any of the major languages that are in use.
Mhm.
And it translates to a greetings and a warning. It notes that the planet is under quarantine at the moment. It takes a bit to understand because it seems to be couched in very religious language, like, all travelers, please take heed. Your souls may be imperiled. Please avoid contact planetside.
So planet is not a good idea. You said the science station was the one with the
Purely automated response.
purely automated. Okay.
The asteroid is the human response one.
Okay.
Then let's open a hailing frequency with the asteroids. More likely to get an actual response.
The communications arrays don't take long to open up, and after the request for a visual, there's like a delay, and then it opens up to a voice channel without like a video link, even though a video link was what was requested. It says, "Hey out there."
Greetings. This is Captain Booker of the. My brain always. I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget it, and then I forgot it. Yeah, this is Captain Booker of the Proxima Icarus. We are in need of supplies and refueling.
These parts.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I was worried about. This ship's got a reputation.
I'm afraid that we'd be new in these parts.
She's gonna like whisper and be like, "Tell him it's under new management."
Currently, we are under new management. If you'd like, I can send you the manifest of the crew.
He says, "We're backwaters out here." So he says, unless you are intending to check my paperwork, he says, before I buy, sell, or trade or anything with you, but he says, most of the planets you'll find around here, he says, they don't worry too much about that.
Understood.
He says, I would be careful about going planetside, though.
We've noticed. Thank you for the warning.
He says, whole damn planet's dying off.
Ah.
What?
That's unfortunate.
A whole planet?
Well, the people. I think the planet will be fine.
It hasn't spread in your vicinity, has it?
He says, no, definitely not.
We've noted that the planet's under quarantine. What's it under quarantine for?
He says, well, that's kind of the trick. He says, we have some doctors aboard the ship. He says, but they're religious nut jobs down there. He says, Ra and Osiris, he says, and the soul having all these parts, and says, getting buried with all your stuff. He says, so it goes with you to the afterlife. He says, so we tried to talk to him, he says, about most of this, he says, and what we get back, we don't much understand. He says, they say it's a soul sickness of some kind.
A soul sickness.
says, and believe it's been put upon them by the gods to test them.
Well
Well,
then,
then apparently they're failing. Did I say that out loud?
yes,
says-
Captain.
Your ship's profile says looks like you could haul a lot of cargo.
That we can. Is there a
He
request in
says,
there?
You got the credits. He says, we got a whole lot. He says, we could send your way.
We currently don't have credits, but we do have items and valuables we can trade with.
Says, well, I'm pretty sure he says we got some repair parts. He says we're definitely in need of. He says, I can send over an itinerary. He says, you send it to your engineer and let me know. He says, what you think you're capable of making.
Absolutely. Please send that over at your earliest convenience.
Yeah. He says, yeah, your attorney shouts, it's like, board them up. Put together an itinerary.
Captain, perhaps you should also send them a manifest of what we need in trade.
Understood.
He says, be careful coming this way. He says, ship your size. He says, we've had some problems with pirates around these asteroids. He says, just
Fantastic.
keep your head on a swivel.
We will.
Is there some reason you're not sending video?
Says, he says, you can check the itinerary of things we need repaired.
Working on voice only, do they sound believable?
Go ahead and
Yes.
make a persuade check.
Thank you so much.
Persuade? Don't see that.
Or not persuade. Okay.
Notice?
Notice. Thank you.
No extra modifier, just intelligence. 11. That's quite good.
So it's highly unlikely that it's just something mechanical. Much more likely is that there's some reason that they're wanting their signal to be disguised,
Mm-hmm.
which is harder to do the larger it is.
Sure.
If there
I will
are indeed
hold-
pirates, that's probably a pretty good reason.
Yeah, I will hold that information until after the conversation is over.
We'll send you an itinerary. Or we'll send you an itinerary of what we need as well.
Says we're talking mostly, he says, raw ores. He says iron, gold, silver. Says a little bit of lithium. He says not a ton.
Is that something we can accomplish? I'm saying this aside, not to the big video call.
You guys can just say you're hitting mute or whatever too. So.
Yeah. Oh. Very briefly and as discreetly as possible, I hit mute and I asked Maiko if that's something we should, Maiko and Logos, if that's something we should be able to theoretically.
He says those are critical supplies that are very useful.
So us as well?
Advocating
So
for
that's what they're trading us, right? Or
That's what they're offering is bulk supplies of those.
Yeah, we could definitely use those.
All right,
Reach
then
over
what is
and
it?
hold my finger down on the captain's button, on the mute button. Captain darling, that sumbitch is lying through his teeth. He don't want us to see He don't want us to see him, and I don't trust that shit. I take my finger off your finger, not releasing the button, just taking my finger off your finger.
Hey GM, does their manifest of things that they need check out when they send it over?
It actually reflects extensive damage. Does that make sense? Like the things that are on it are not routine wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
They're critical infrastructure kind of items.
So Maiko's while Booker is muted, she's gonna be like, they need a lot of really important stuff. I don't
They're
know
asking
why
for some unreasonable things, aren't they?
What?
They're asking for unreasonable things, aren't they?
Well, it's not that. It's that I'm not sure why they would be giving up the sort of supplies that they're offering us if they had to manufacture all of this stuff, or how they would even be communicating with us. Like, their ship shouldn't actually be running, I think.
This is a base, by the way, not a ship.
Or they're
It's on an asteroid, right? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it could potentially move to another asteroid,
Mhm.
but
their
Yeah, because
system.
our ship can do the whole process, right? We don't
Yes.
need them to do mining. Okay.
well, with the mining ship, you can do mining.
So-
but without it, you are dependent on
It's,
something
it's
else.
yeah. We only
And
need
we
these
need
guys
those-
for food.
And we need
Well,
those. We need
others-
food.
other
We need
supplies, yeah.
medicine, and we also need
Well, and
enough
we
of
need
the rest of the supplies
components
to
for
be able
the-
to fix the mining ship.
Mhm.
Upon hearing both Mortel and Maiko, Bite's gonna turn to Logos. Is there a way that I can get through that feed and turn on their camera without them knowing?
It will be more difficult without a line shunt, but it is possible. And they may detect your intrusion.
Captain
Well-
Booker, can you keep them on the line as long as you can?
Bro, would you like to talk for a little while?
Just give me a minute and just start brushing the velour to make sure it's perfect. Yeah.
I trust you can be as
And-
distracting as possible.
Just tell me when you're ready, hon. Look over at Bite. Oh, and by the way, mwah.
Okay.
And then turn back to the screen. He's enjoying this a lot.
I'm ready when you
Swiss
are,
Captain.
Captain.
Then let's begin.
Let's see. Come
Kick
on.
out the hip. And
Okay,
just start,
so-
yeah.
Bite, you're going to be making a programming roll. It's going to be diff 10 to do it without notice. A diff 7, I will give you the option to get into their systems, but trigger an alert so they're aware of that it's happened.
Okay. I don't know how well it's gonna go.
Mortel, if you get a okay, you're already
That's not so bad. That's okay.
let's see.
if
Mortel,
I
go ahead and
succeed,
make
can
a
I-
talk
I was
roll.
gonna- Yeah. A which?
Talk.
Talk. Yeah, that makes sense.
Can I help
Uh,
Bite also?
You absolutely may.
Ah, that's not good.
With what?
You are you helping Bite or are you helping Mortel?
Helping Bite.
Okay. Then you'll get +1 to Bite's roll. Mortel is kind of a little bit distracted, not
Yeah.
quite keeping them as distracted as he could.
It's so hard to see their response when you can't see them.
Yeah, it's just kind of long periods of quiet and stuff like that, and then like oh no, sorry, it was just an asteroid floated
Yeah.
between our communication beams.
Yeah. I can't tell if you're blushing or not.
So you are 1 point shy of being able to do it without notice. So it's your choice. You can either be noticed and look through their systems, or forego it and pull back.
He'd want to try again. He'd want to pull back and then try again.
It's probably going to need a solid 6-hour block before for their automated security systems to stand down.
It's now or never.
No, it's not. I mean, you could.
It's now
Yeah.
or later.
So yeah, he'll go in.
I would like to make a leadership role to try and help out slightly. You're real bad,
How bad
especially
can this
considering I'll
go?
probably use my charisma.
Yeah, it'll be charisma leadership for.
Yeah, he's 1 point away.
I honestly think my help should be worth 2 points. Yeah.
It's going to have to be because
It would have been if it was
shit
for
together.
Mortel's talk roll.
You can, but
You can don't it. Oh shit! What did
I
say?
believe in you
Yeah.
in the most unconvincing way that doesn't sound very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Failure's way
I
more fun.
believe in you.
All right.
He'll go in once he realizes like he'll have to wait 6 hours, and at that point the deal might be done. He's just like, screw it, let me get as much information as I can. Just keep trying.
Okay.
Well, while Bite is working on that, George is going to sidle up next to Mortel. Mortel, I know you're having your fun, but you're distracting Bite.
I must have
Oh.
it pointed in the wrong direction. I'm supposed to be distracting that fella on the radio.
Okay. So, Bite, I will allow you to
This
ask
character.
3
Oh,
questions.
God, I love this character.
Okay.
Uh,
Who are they?
So they are human. They do, in fact, appear to be asteroid miners. But from what you can see, they have gone through massive attrition of flight. There are more empty bunks and empty rooms. Part of the station looks as though it was depressurized forcibly. And most of the rest of the system is in repair, but still like not pressurized. Like the supplies that they're trading for are actually critical to their survival, but they're aware that saying this is critical to our survival is not good for trade.
Yeah. Okay. He's gonna look to the group. I'm in. I can get 3 bits of information. I know who they are. What else can I grab?
Find out what happened.
Looks up what happened. Why are they so damaged?
So the you kind of go back, like it's actually close to a month of camera feeds, and the pirates basically came in force and said, you're going to provide us, a place or else. And the captain of the mining asteroid said, or else. Open fire with mining weapons, thought it was a bluff. Many times pirates are not as well armed as they claim to be. And they had dealt with them before and expected them to scatter. These didn't. Instead, they killed a sizable portion of the crew, and have been since then forcing them to provide docking and repairs so that they can get out of their smaller fighters and shuttles. And also basically kind of taking off most of the supplies that they trade for or manage to get, they're taking for themselves at gunpoint. The pirates are not on the station at the moment. Part of the reason they're being so circumspect about their channel is because they know the pirates can probably listen in on it.
Okay.
And they're trying to block it from being heard from the frequencies they know the pirates monitor.
Okay.
This is a question I've got. How many of them are left?
On board the station, people or pirates?
You said the pirates are out at the moment.
Yeah, they're not. They're out in the asteroid belt itself.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about how many people are in the asteroid belt. I'm worried about how many survivors there are in the station.
Oh, there are 7 survivors on the station.
He'll run up mute. I know that's not my job, but these people are in real danger. This sounds bad.
Best case scenario is actually having them join us as opposed to us giving them any of our supplies.
Then wouldn't we have pirates after us, in theory, while we're still not doing so?
We already have the government after us.
Maybe.
But the pirates are closer.
It would depend on how quickly we can jump out of system before the pirates realize that these folks didn't just abandon the station.
Well, and we still need to wait for our fuel.
And at the moment, I don't believe the pirates know we're here, so we sort of have the advantage, don't we? Logos, can you see that little old pirate ship floating around here somewhere in this sector?
So it's not within the asteroid belt, not without hours of potentially scanning.
Well, I guess if, what do they say about mountains and supposed gods? One won't come to the other. Why don't we get those fine folks on the asteroid to send out a little help. And when the pirates, or even better, a little double fingers, if you know what I mean. And when the pirates come to lay down the law, we put a great big old hole in that pirate ship, thus making ourselves heroes. We don't pay for shit.
I don't.
Do we even have the capability of taking on another ship? This is a mining ship.
This ship and that little old one strapped to the belly blow up a whole battleship that knew it was there. These
Logo
pirate
says-
ships, if I'm not mistaken, are much smaller and more explodey, I think is the technical term. Is that right, GM?
They would be easier to destroy by the ship's primary weapon system. The issue is that there are likely to be a large number of them, and there's only a single weapon system.
The mining ship's weapons aren't currently active.
Maigo's like, that wasn't the technical term.
There's a grin.
You want technical, I'll come to you. You want easy facts.
Would they bring the whole fleet, though, if we just told them there was a little old problem? I told them that half a dozen of the fellas that were still here still wanted to make a stand. Then we blow up what shows up. And they're pirates, after all. They're not the military. We don't have to beat them. We just have to be the not softest target.
Well, there's one other option for your plan.
Well, there's dozens of other options. I just like mine best because something goes fucking boom at the end.
Oh, so does mine.
What's yours then?
First things first, we'll get the crew onto here. It'll look like we are trading supplies between the two of us, but they'll just come and give us all. They'll give us all the supplies they can, including fuel. With enough to get to the next system or two. The key thing is we will set the base up to explode the second the pirate comes to dock.
I can do that.
It may involve us going on to the base briefly.
Logo says, if I might offer a third alternative.
Please do.
He says, presumably they have pirate command communications to communicate to the pirates. He says, it is possible, he says, Bite could hack those systems, he says, and make the individual pirate ships believe they have errors that require fixing. He says, rather than returning the entire fleet, he says they may return, he says, one at a time.
I can do that.
And what is it about pirates that... what does Salvage's law say about pirates? What's theirs is ours?
I don't.
Pirates aren't covered under salvage law.
I don't know. Why don't you ask our current host? And I look over at Logos.
He says,
Mortel gets a
this is
slightly
summary-
dirty look from Bite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm calling her friend out right in front of her. Yeah. Or him. Sorry.
Him, Bite's a
Him, sorry.
guy.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's okay. We got pronoun issues because everybody keeps calling Mortel he as well. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
No, it's all good. They've never said anything about it.
I've been trying to refer to you as Mortel.
Yeah.
Mortel and or they.
Yes.
I'll just stick with Perel.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Logos does reply. He says, I can recite. He says, piracy law, he says, of the Mandate era, he says, but there is currently no rule, he says, extending across the sector.
So therefore, nobody's technically a pirate. Isn't that wonderful? And I kick my feet up on the table again. Point them right at Logos.
All right, so we have 3 options. I like our chances with Logos's idea.
So do I, actually.
I might be able to do one better. So, yes, I can hack into the feed and I can get them to send somebody back here. But maybe I can get the head ship back here. And maybe we can blow them up.
Out of character, my history brain just went,
Cutting the head off the snake doesn't always work.
No, but the snake twitches enough so you can get the hell away when you do it. I love this. This is making somebody else's problem. I like this plan. But I didn't know you had it in you.
Says these
Well, I mean, I
plans,
guess you haven't yet.
these plans do, however, require the cooperation of those aboard the ship, or those aboard the station.
I imagine they want to be free as much as any man.
I can talk to them about this, Captain, to see where they stand and what they're willing to cooperate. But I must note that I do understand these are pirates we're dealing with, but I'm not comfortable with just wholesale slaughter.
And we have to
Understood.
make sure that they're not sick.
That too.
Like,
Why?
if I were caught on that station and I were sick, I wouldn't tell me.
That was why I was very glad when we got that out of character. I was very glad why we got that character, the information from Bite, because my assumption was what they were hiding was that the infection had hit there and they'd been blowing up parts of their own station to keep it from spreading. Mortel's a bit paranoid.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
All
Says
right.
Jermaine.
Quarantine.
Well, do you have an alternative? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you, Booker.
It's all right. Saint Germain. Talk to the crew.
Yes, Captain.
Okay.
So it's relatively easy to signal. We have these supplies. We can bring them over now. We'll load up a cargo lifter, which would give you pretense to go aboard the station as is.
I think that's going to be the best way to talk to them rather than through a method of communications that can be intercepted.
Ooh, a special delivery.
Deliveries. Oh my goodness. Wow. Must be nice to be a star.
Um,
Remember to tip your waitress.
Yeah.
However, before we do that, I'm going to need 5 minutes to run to the bathroom.
Yep, absolutely.
So if we can take a short break and be back in 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we kind of don't have a BRB, but yeah, we got an outro screen.
We have a.
Let's
Do
go
also
back.
We have
have
a
the
please
ability
hold.
for me to tell terrible jokes.
Oh,
We
quick,
have
the
a
outro
please
screen.
No,
quick,
no.
quick, the outro screen.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Part of Martell will be played by an office chair.
Cheap office chair. Yes.
We return.
Today, the part of Booker will be played by Sergeant Muggins.
The part of Sergeant Muggins will be played by Booker.
Both of whom can fart rainbows on command. Hey, we're back. Hi.
All right. So to make sure that I understand the plan is that Gerard and Maiko are going to be going over to the station on board one of the cargo lifts, and everybody else is remaining aboard the Proxima Icarus.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just trying to do any of them have fighting skills?
Not even a little.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm coming along.
Okay.
That's so sweet of you.
One thing to note, Bite, if Maiko is capable of installing a line shunt into the asteroid base, that's going to make all hacking rolls to deal with both the base itself and the surrounding pirate fleets easier to do.
Okay. He'll make sure to tell Maiko to please install one.
We're not leaving Mortel alone on the ship with Bite, are we?
Oh no!
Logos, you're in charge.
They realize on the cargo flipped over.
I think it's the best time to realize it. Just giving a
I'm
quick
getting
message.
some
Logos, you're in
serious,
charge.
Oh,
You're leaving a quick message, leaving Logos in charge?
Yes.
Very well.
Logos, you're
The
in
minute-
charge. I trust you to keep those two separate.
The minute
Very
Bite
well.
notices this, he's gone. He will do his
Mhm.
hacking in another area
Yep.
of the ship where he can hide from Mortel.
How long are they gone for?
It's
I asked Logos, how long are you all going to be gone for, honey?
Once the ship is close enough to actually engage in trade, the shuttle should take 20 minutes each way.
All right, then. That's not enough time to have much fun, but I'll hurry. And yeah, just every once in a while, I just walk past the door. I know they're running away from me now. It's like so blatantly obvious. Everyone just a flash of red and yellow past the door. That's all you see. If we'd been gone longer, I was going to actually have one of the robots paint themselves red and yellow and follow you around in the distance, but we don't have time. So.
No, he's
Um,
like found like probably effectively like an air duct
Yep.
to like hide himself in.
Actually,
I have no
Logos,
clue where he
Lo-
Ship.
Logos will request that they go
Oh.
to the stellar cartography room because it's going to provide a 3D display of the area, which means that if there's sudden movement, Bite is as likely to notice it as Logos is.
Okay, good.
It also
So
has a
go-
door that locks.
Yep.
So, and then I'll leave them alone for a minute because I do want to have a moment, if I can, to talk to Logos directly
Sure.
before we go to these three.
Yeah.
All right, you little shit. I want an honest goddamn answer. I ain't had one from you since I got here. Are you or are you not a pirate? I don't care one way or the other. I just want to know.
I have engaged in multiple behaviors to survive. I have not engaged in any act you would consider piratical in 75 years.
So yes, but not recently. Thank you for your honesty. That's all I wanted to know. And I will flounce away, flouncingly. Past the door
yes.
of astral engineering.
You have a galley full of fresh vegetables to yourself.
Oh, yes. Mhm.
All right, so the cargo lifts are extremely bare bones. They are basically two engines and something that grapples onto the actual lift container itself, and a very, very tiny bridge with enough space for 3 people to sit. Well, it's actually 2 and 1 standing.
Guess who's standing?
They're designed to be able to be like dropped off at a point in space, but they're also capable of getting planet side if needed. So they can act as an emergency shuttle if it's required.
Sorry, I unfortunately just turned my eyes to chat.
I have to. You're all
Yes.
banned from chat now.
Yep, chat's gone. Bye, chat. Bye.
That's just for me and Bat Kyle now. Go ahead, guys. I'm actually going to mute myself.
What are we doing again? Where are we?
So you are.
You're waiting for the other transport, essentially.
No, actually, they're basically giving you the directions as to like where to place it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And you can actually see that like as soon as you guys are in motion, they have 2 cargo lifts of their own that are moving towards the shuttle or towards the ship.
Do they have a way, once we land, if we need to get away, can they clamp us, or can we get away if we want to?
It doesn't look like they have. There are the equivalent of like tractor beams. They're usually like station side and whatnot. They're expensive, but it doesn't look like it's equipped with any.
And then, do you need a roll from me of any kind, or are we just floating through space on charm alone?
I will take a pilot roll just to make sure things go as smoothly as possible. It's only diff 6. This is fairly routine.
You had to say that before I rolled, didn't you? Okay, so what am I using? Intelligence?
Yes. Intelligence and pilot.
So I rolled 2 once, and I got a 3 altogether.
Okay. So things are going fine until they're not. Which is when you're kind of about halfway there and you realize that like there are little to no onboard sensors on this thing. Bite, I will let you make a notice roll, and if it's going to be target number 8, and if you do, I'm going to give Maiko a second roll to avoid a collision.
With intelligence?
Yes.
Can I use my intelligence? Okay.
Or so, yeah.
9.
Okay. Maiko, you can make a second roll. Bite, you see there's an asteroid that you're like, don't they see that? The sensors pick that up, right? And then, do a quick check. There's no sensors aboard the cargo lifts. They're that simple. So realize that they don't see what's coming at them. You do.
Immediately hop on any type of communication. Captain, there is an asteroid headed right for you guys. You might want to move.
Maiko, pit maneuver.
Moving. I rolled another 3.
Those dice belong in jail.
They're fired!
Well, this is when we die.
They're
So,
fired!
This is where I get to give Bite the speech about how the 2 of us are going to have to repopulate the universe.
Nope.
But it's like, I'm not ready to be a dad!
So the asteroid hits, and it actually does huge damage to the cargo container that held the fabricated supplies. It takes off like the back quarter of it, and many of the supplies are just kind of floating in the space between. And you get immediate radio hails from the 2 cargo lift drivers that are flying the raw materials over to the ship. They're like, cargo lifter, are you all right? You still pressurized?
Yeah, we're okay. We're fine.
Yeah, we're okay. How are you?
Do you have vac suits on board?
So, Maiko just lives in a vac suit these days. But as she's so she's like, okay, all right, yes, I see the asteroid. The asteroid is very big. The asteroid is very big. I can't turn into. Hold on to something. Okay, hold on. Oh, that'll buff out.
You guys alive down there?
Do I have to make another roll?
The cargo lifter says, would you like us to haul you into station?
Please? Yes,
Yes.
please. That would be great. Do you guys have vac suits?
Booker and Gerard, I don't believe are wearing one.
Are we pressurized? Like, I need to know the answers to all of the questions
You-
we were just
you-
asked.
You are pressurized. They're not in vac suits. But the cargo has definitely taken some damage.
And Booker's been slammed against a wall. He's not sitting.
I'm installing seatbelts. Sorry.
It was definitely a rough hit. The cargo lift operator flies up close. They've just left their own cargo box, like floating in space for the moment, and they come up and very carefully maneuver into position to clamp themselves to yours.
Thank you.
After which they haul very slowly into one of the cargo bays that's still pressurized. About 3/4 of the supplies are still inside of the cargo lifter. The rest of them are floating.
You know, you can get those, probably.
Yeah. Nice.
This is, unfortunately, my brain is doing terrible things to me. If it's all right and acceptable with people, when I was slammed against a wall, may I please have lost consciousness?
Sure. Do you need to be out for a bit?
Yeah, I actually need to head out. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. We can call it early if need be.
It's actually a
I'm
good
good with
cliffhanger.
calling there, yeah.
That's a good cliffhanger right there.
That's our cliffhanger for the rest of the season, though. Right?
Yeah, I don't think we'll be back until January, right?
Yeah, we'll be back in January.
All right.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Fearless leader is muted.
I am neither fearless nor a leader, but I was muted. It's only the 11th, so 7
Oh,
days
that's
from today is
right,
only
the
the 18th. So we got one more left. Yeah,
My bad. Okay.
yeah. As long as everybody's available next Sunday,
So we
that
should be
leaves
able
us
to
a
move
full week
something-
before.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right.
So we should be
So,
able to move things forward next week.
Yep. So short answer: go, but leave your camera on for a minute, please. Like if you got to go. Yeah, then go. Just
I can
turn
stay
your camera
long
off
enough
and
to
okay. All right,
say
and we'll do the
goodbyes.
outs. All right.
Sorry about this.
So cliffhanger us out if you would be so kind.
All right. So tune in with us next time to find out what happens aboard the station and how everyone is faring. Thank you so much for coming to join us, and sorry for the abrupt end today. And I think since we have some people who need to get going, we'll call it there, but tune in next time. Thank you very much.
Be nice to each other. Good night.
Night.
Good night.